his entire legacy is over. I think it really is over. I think MAGA is over. There's no question. I mean, MAGA with Trump, I guess, leading the movement is completely over.
So the real question is MAGA dead? Hey guys, my name is Jason Wesley, and this is not a podcast. So Nick Fuentes says that MAGA is dead.
Fuck MAGA. It's dead. It's dead. MAGA is, I'll do it again for you. MAGA is dead. We are America first. This means nothing. F this movement. If MAGA means Lindsey Graham, Laura Loomer, Barry Weiss, and Netanyahu, and not Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, and Tucker, then MAGA is garbage. It is a dead brand. No young person wants to be a part of this. Nobody is enthusiastic about it, and it is a joke.
This is the same guy that said that Hitler was cool.
Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool. So, you know, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go. He was also really fucking cool.
Do you regret saying that?
Saying a fact? No, that's absolutely true.
See, that's the reality of your jokes, although I haven't ascertained yet whether you are joking when you say that Hitler was very fucking cool. Are you joking, or do you actually think he was very fucking cool? The most genocidal monster of the last 150 years.
Yeah, the thing is, my generation, we're just done with the pearl clutching. You know,
yeah, you might be, but then your generation hasn't gone through what Danny Finkelstein's family went through. So
yeah.
maybe the pearl clutching has a way to go for families whose family members
oh my gosh,
were murdered.
Yeah, we got all that. We, you know, me mom, like we're. You know, I don't even know who this person is. Why is this person talking to me? This old British guy is saying me mom got killed by Hitler.
Because he doesn't find it funny when you say Hitler's very fucking cool.
I don't care. I don't care.
I know you don't care. That's fine. You don't have to care.
Tucker Carlson, he says the MAGA movement is dead.
On one level, this is the saddest moment in a long time. It's not just the death of Thomas Massey's immediate political career, which may be resurrected, one never knows. It's obviously the death of MAGA, whatever that was. But it's also, of course, the end of the Republican Party.
I guess Trump must be one of the luckiest guys alive because he seems to keep on winning.
Let's start off with Tucker Carlson, who has been in absolute freefall with Republicans. I mean, just take a look at this. Look at this trend line. Tucker Carlson's net favorable. Back in March of 2024, when he and Donald Trump were very close friends, look at this. He was at plus 54 points. Look at where he is today at only plus 7 points among Republicans, and that includes GOP-leaning independents. I mean, that is a drop of what, 47 percentage points. My goodness gracious, when you go up against Donald Trump and you want to appeal to the Republican base, to quote the movie Good Burger, you go on the grinder, and that is exactly what has happened to Tucker Carlson, who has absolutely collapsed among Republicans.
On the federal level, talking about governor's races, House races, and Senate races, this is his scorecard, okay? He has endorsed 8 governors. Now, some of these races weren't real close, didn't have a lot of competition, but some of them did. I mean, we saw what happened in Louisiana, the primary of Bill Cassidy. We saw what happened a week ago tonight with Tom Massey in Kentucky. And now we're seeing it again tonight, okay, in Texas. Governor level, Trump endorsed 8. He won 8 times. U.S. House, 101 endorsed. He won, 101 endorsed in the House, and he won 101. Let me put on the pencil right here and show you this. U.S. Senate, Sean, he has endorsed 8 candidates. And prior to tonight, he had won 8 times. And now you can take the endorsement from 8 to 9 endorsed, and from 8 to 9 winner.
Now, Nick says that his plan is that he wants everyone on the right to vote for Democrats. He wants Democrats to vote for Democrats. He wants everybody on the right to vote for Democrats. And he believes that he's got the momentum and the influence to do it, along with people like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly. This is what they want. They want us to vote for Democrats. Now, when Steven Crowder pushed him on it, which in their first interview, I didn't think Steven Crowder pushed him at all, but he finally did. And turns out Nick has no plan.
I really believe that this administration is just cooked. And so I think the real question is, and this is a huge question, who will be Trump's successor? Because that person is going to define the direction of the party. And I really believe there should be a very competitive primary for the presidential race in 28. And what they're trying to do is consolidate support around either Vance or Rubio. And I think that we should not have consolidation where it's 80% behind one candidate. I think it should be wide open. The only way to have an open field is if everyone associated with the administration is sufficiently weakened. So I'm actually rooting for Democrats to degrade and sabotage this administration and the people in it so that they're less politically viable. And maybe that clears the way for a dark horse or an outsider to maybe clinch the nomination in 28.
So here's my primary problem, what you just said. And it's that keyword maybe. I hear who you don't want. The roster, the funds, the ground game. Maybe, right? Because you've tried this before. It's failed. The losses are real with the Democrats that we faced. I would argue worst 3 years in modern American history. The wins, the potential wins that you're describing are imaginary with no concretes. The roster, the funds, the ground game. You know, the things that you need to win elections in 2028 through the major risk of handing the country over to Democrats when we know that that means open borders, packing the courts, turning them into citizens, right? DEI back in the administration, H-1B skyrocketing again, all of that. Huge risk, concretes, so we see the payoff.
People like Nick and Tucker want us to vote for people like babyface James Tallarico.
God is non-binary. There are many more than two biological sexes. In fact, there are 6. It is now existential that we try to reduce our meat consumption. The American flag is such a complicated symbol for most of us. Prophetic voices like Jesus have helped me reckon with my own whiteness, my own masculinity. Our southern border should be like our front porch. There should be a giant welcome mat out front. No need to sit and cry over, your whiteness or your masculinity. They're gonna call me a radical leftist.
Something that you love that's not family or friends.
I love, I'm just saying this because it's on my mind, the trans children.
The Democrats have a weird candidate.
They also want us to vote for a guy with an actual Nazi tattoo on his chest, Graham Plattner in Maine.
In Maine, a high-stakes Senate race is heating up, causing drama for Democrats, now with an extra twist of Nazi symbolism.
My name is Graham Plattner, and I'm running for U.S. Senate in Maine.
Democratic candidate Graham Plattner running to unseat longtime Republican Senator Susan Collins, under fire for a controversial tattoo on his chest, a skull and crossbones symbol historically associated with the Nazis.
I am not a secret Nazi.
Did you know Graham Plattner wrote that women worried about rape need to, quote,
not get so up they wind up having sex with someone they don't mean to.
It's disgusting.
The ad features several Reddit posts made by Plattner in 2013 talking about sexual assault read by a voice similar to Plattner's. It ends with an image of a shirtless Plattner highlighting a controversial tattoo he has since covered up. The skull and bones design has ties to the Nazi Party.
Now, Graham has since apologized for the comments that he made on Reddit and different things that he said. And he said that at the time he was in a dark place, suffering from PTSD, and that he was looking online for a community very similar to many people that follow Nick and Tucker. Many people like Graham find places and communities like Nick and Tucker. They think that online is reality, and turns out it isn't. But if you'll remember, Tucker interviewed and praised Kanye West while he was in the middle of his pro-Hitler tirade before he came out and apologized.
The enemies of his ideas dismissed West, as they have for years, as mentally ill. Too crazy to take seriously. Look away, ignore him. He's a mental patient. There's nothing to see here. But crazy? That was not our conclusion. In fact, we've rarely heard a man speak so honestly and so movingly about what he believes.
Tucker's the same guy that said that he hated President Trump, and we found it through the leaked text, and then went on stage before the 2024 election and praised Trump for like 45 minutes.
Now remember, this is the man that Carlson has privately called, quote, a demonic force, a destroyer. He said he truly can't wait to ignore Trump most nights and that he hates him passionately.
People like Tucker Carlson have no integrity, in my opinion. Now, if you saw my previous episode of Not a Podcast, you saw Candace Owens and Milo Yiannopoulos saying some wild anti-Semitic garbage.
I have no doubt that the end of the state of Israel, which must come, will be accompanied by great horrors. But this is a state that is no longer any good even for Jews. Basically, you move pretty much everybody out and turn the whole thing into a giant museum.
Yeah.
Because the creation of the state in the first place seems to me to be a riddle with no solution. It's a puzzle with no answer. And the only way to address it is to undo the mistake that was made in the first place.
Yeah, but then where are those Israelis going to go? Because I personally, like, people that turn the other cheek when they're like murdering children, it's not, I wouldn't want them as a neighbor. Like, personally, I'm just saying.
Listen,
and again, I want to be clear, it's not all Israelis. Like, obviously, the Haaretz has been every day hitting at all of the lies, and obviously they want Netanyahu, but many of them are okay with what's happening. Too many of them are okay with what's happening in Gaza. I think the majority of them are okay with what's happening in Gaza. That's terrifying. I don't want that person as a neighbor. Any person, I don't even want the Americans that are supporting us as neighbors. I'm basically going, okay, where should we send these people? They can't be here. You can't be here if this is your guiding philosophy in life, that it's totally acceptable to mass murder children and to shoot them and to look the other way when they're trying to get food, to block aid, to allow a starvation campaign to get what you want. Yeah, no, you need to leave America, by the way. So that's where I'm at.
Yes, I think it's fair, but it's also it's quite a large area of territory that's under dispute here. It's a big place, and I think space can be found for everybody. And it's not like Israelis haven't had to move before.
But some people seem to listen to them and take them seriously. It's election season again, and everyone's coming out and apologizing for the dumb crap that they said and did in the past. But the question is, should you forgive them? Are they serious? And should you vote for these people or the people that they're endorsing? But just like Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
When people show you who they are, believe them.
Yes, absolutely. A person says to you, I'm selfish, or I'm mean, or I am unkind.
Or I'm crazy.
Or believe them. They know themselves much better than you do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, out of all of the woke Reich and fake conservatives, at least Nick stands on the business of what he says. Did you say Hitler was cool? Yeah. Did you celebrate Stalin? Yeah. I mean, at least you got to give it to him. He says the craziest, racist, dumb crap, but at least he stands behind it, unlike Candace Owens.
And sometimes when I see the things that you say, I do think, okay, he doesn't take into account family. Like, it's just Nick. Nick is in his own world, which can be, I think, a quite selfish perspective, which is fine. That's what you're saying. You like being selfish is another way to say what you just said. I like being selfish and I don't want to give of myself to somebody else.
I also think there's something selfless involved, which is to say, I could go and start a family and drag them into a world of mine, which is pretty chaotic. You know, I mean, is this really the kind of a lifestyle? If I'm banned on everything and I can't make a living, I'm banned from banking, I'm banned from credit card processing, I'm getting doxxed, people are showing up to my house trying to kill me, things like that. I also don't appreciate the lecture. You don't know me, you know, so I know you're married, I know you're older than me, but you don't know me, you don't know my life, you don't know my situation. I don't think you're in a position to give me advice, especially as a woman, honestly. I don't think women, you know, this is something in the right wing, we say we're anti-feminist, and then women go around telling men what to do, who are not their husbands. And, you know, I don't really buy into that ideologically, but that's besides the point. You know, my life has been tumultuous from the very beginning. What do? I go out on Tinder, I go to a bar, and I say, hey, I'm a neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes that the ADL is writing articles about every day. I'm going to start a dating profile on Tinder. People are going to screenshot that, mess with me in all kinds of ways. It's a very difficult predicament, actually, for me, because I took on basically a huge sacrifice at the beginning. And I don't know that you really appreciate that enough. I think that you're somebody who, you know, you had a career in politics for as long as I was fighting a battle. You were at Daily Wire with a contract. You're at Turning Point. You're making good money. You're doing book deals. You're part of this thing that I'm criticizing and paying a very heavy price for at a time when no one's saying those things, when it's very unpopular. And it's not to say that I'm a victim, you know, because I did it willingly and I love it and I would do it again. But it is to say that, you know, you and I have lived very different lives. You know, it's easy, I think, for you to say, you had your husband, have your kids, you got your ducks in a row, made quite a bit of money, then you discovered the truth, and then you went out on a limb. And it's not to say you didn't make sacrifices and it wasn't a risk, and it paid off. You're doing great now, and I congratulate you. But with me, there was no calculation. I mean, I almost want to say I was 17. What's your excuse? It's a little more complicated, I think, than maybe you understand.
And when she's confronted with an actual truth teller like Victor Marx, she folds like a cheap suit and deflects.
In other words, what I'm trying to say here is that the people in the podcast space, which again is myself included, but again, our contract works a little bit differently, have incentive to not appeal to what most of America is thinking, but instead to find that very, very small, very, very niche group of people that will watch their show every day, because that will translate to $1 million per year. And because of that, their sole focus is attention. What can I do to get attention? If I can draw the ire of the President of the United States, yeah, a bunch of normal people, pragmatic people may not like me, but I can gather those 50,000, 100,000 loyal viewers and make my $1 million a year just talking to them explicitly and exclusively. That is what these people are after. And what better way to gain attention, especially with the president who will happily truth social against you, is to say that MAGA is dead. In reality, is it really? Or is it those podcasting people who really, really just want to capture that very, very small percentage of individuals who don't fall into the more normal political view, want to say that MAGA is dead, and obviously the mainstream media wants to repeat that to try and ingrain it to us to prove that no, actually pragmatism has gone out the window. If yesterday's election proved anything, is that no, it hasn't. The podcasting class who has gathered their small collection of people that are in whatever little pockets they are, do not represent the country.